Hello and welcome to the 7th episode of the Juan Podcast. I'm your host, Juan. Just had a conversation with Mikey Balzz. Mikey is a guy I've looked up to in the fishing community. He makes tons of content on YouTube. Super cool guy. I never really spoke to him, over the phone or anything like that. We would email back and forth, text back and forth, talking about making videos and just creating content when it comes to fishing. So I reached out to him to see if he'd like to be on one of my episodes, and he agreed. And I had a ton of fun with this episode. We talked about how to catch big fish, how he started, and just experiences in our lives regarding to fishing and how fishing has affected and changed our lives. Fishing is a sport that I love, and it's a sport that can put you through these stages of super, super pumped, and all at the same time, it's almost a humbling experience because it can put you down. You can be all day on the lake, literally hours. I've been out on lake sometimes up to 12 hours, and I don't catch not one fish. Why? Because it's a craft, it's an art, and I've said it before, I look up to people who are good at their craft and good at their art, and I want to learn from those people. I don't want to envy them. I want to be able to get on the same level they are. And envy is a powerful thing because some people, they don't like seeing others succeed. I like to see my friends succeed. I like to, again, learn from other people because I want to be on their same level or be like them. So I think that people should really change their mentality when it comes to that. And I had Mikey on, and we just talked about everything. Super cool guy. And this is Catching Swamp Donkeys with Mikey Balzz. Mike, what is up, bro? We just had a quick chat here at the beginning. I was already blowing your mind with that esoteric knowledge.
Yeah, dude, that was cool. You know what I love the most, actually, though, is your name, dude. When I pulled you up on Skype here, Juan on one, I'm like, is this racist or just really cool? Like, that was good stuff, dude.
I'm Hispanic, and it's my name, so I have a privilege to be able to do that. And it's unique. It's unique.
Dude,
But
it is. That's like my Mikey Balls thing. I can get like an email on any freaking server, dude, that I want. It's like it's free reign, bro. It's free reign.
Mikey, so speaking of names, dude, and let's break it down because this is actually one of the questions that comes up. If you Google Mikey Balzz, it says Mikey Ballz real name, dude. And
Seriously?
I don't know I don't know you on a personal level, like I said earlier, because we've gone back and forth, and you're a super cool guy. Because a lot of people that they don't write back or whatever it is, but you got these guys who do their thing and they're good at their craft and they engage with their followers because, again, where would you be without your followers? And you got these people who go all snobby and stuff. But yeah, dude, if you Google Mikey Balzz, the thing that comes up, it says Mikey Balzz real name. And I hadn't ever Googled that, but I Googled this. I'm like, I'm going to ask him because, like, you know how some people will come up with, like, it's almost like a stripper name, like
Yeah,
Mikey
yeah, yeah.
Balzz, Is it Mikey Balzz for real?
Well, now you're getting me all hot and bothered, dude. I'm thinking about Fort Lauderdale and the pink pony and all that, dude. Like, so here's the deal with the name, man. It's kind of, you know what, and this is privilege. I'll probably get tagged on the internet for it. But so back in high school, back in the day, dude, freaking, we started this little like rap crew, and we're just a bunch of like degenerate little like hood rat kids and stuff. And we started this rap crew called Squiggy Balls, dude. And none of us could rap, none of us could do anything, but we were all like a little bit hood.
Yeah.
So we all had to come up with our names for like the little group. And mine was Mikey Balls, so Mikey Balls was a part of Squiggy Balls, and so that was all great and all that. And like I think it was like a few years later, because this was in high school, and I went to college, and dude, I guess I'll admit it, I'm like kind of old, not old, but like I'm older, like internet transition older kind of thing.
Yeah.
So like, this is like Napster, everything's coming out, AOL Messenger. And so back then, like we had to get, your first email account, your first whatever, MySpace, Facebook. And so I was looking for names, and if like I don't want to type my name, like my name's super long and obnoxious and whatever. So like just randomly got a Hotmail account that was like Mikey. And don't try to email me on this. Anyone who's listening, if you're trying to
Don't
get me, but
don't
because
say
it's
it.
not well, it's not there anymore, dude. It's like gone. I'm like locked out like 10 years ago. But I had a Hotmail account, like Mikey Balzz at hotmail.com. It might even still exist. I have no idea, but I don't check it. If you guys want to hit me up on Facebook, Instagram, even on the YouTube channel. Like that's the best way to get me, because I like you said, I do try to check that stuff as much as I can, dude, because I got a regular job and I work in that, so I'm not always able to check it, but I try to be pretty diligent about checking it like every week or two. But yeah, dude, like I got that Hotmail account. I'm like, hey, that's pretty cool. And like a year later, like MySpace showed up, and I'm like, Mikey Balzz, what's up? And like so it was just kind of a pitfall from there, like Facebook, until somebody flagged me on Facebook, dude. Back in the day, like I had a personal account that was like Mikey Balzz or Fishing or whatever. That was my first and last name, and some joker went and like must have flagged me because it wasn't my real name. And then I went through this whole thing. I had to send Facebook my driver's license, like even before you had to send them your driver. It was a mess, dude. But in any case, though, so yeah, that's what the channel name is, because I was in a rap clique when I was in high school, and it is a name that I can get anywhere. So, and it's fun. It's pretty easy to say. It flows off the tongue, and it's got 2 Z's in it, so it's kind of fun. So
Yeah.
that's the story. Not very exciting, but
Damn, that
yeah.
esoteric. Now, I wonder how many people are thinking about that. Like, man, this guy's name really Balls. But
I
that's
thought
crazy.
about changing my name, to be honest, because I'm like, dude, this would be a lot easier to write than my name, man. And I don't know, it's kind of fun, Oh, what's your name? Oh, Mikey. Last name Balls
Yeah.
with 2 Z's, bro.
It's like
That's like that Mike Hunt joke. I love that Mike Hunt joke.
Yeah.
I thought about changing my name to that too, but
I wear your snapback, the balls one. I'll wear that shit
I know,
around.
dude.
And I'll be like,
I've seen
balls.
the pictures, man. You caught some big fish with that joker on too, man.
Hey, and again, like I was telling you, you're one of the main people who really got me into fishing. To not fishing itself, but like really pushing it to the next level. Because I see you, and the grind is real. And this is another reason why I wanted to have you on. And I'm gonna ask you a question that I ask everybody who comes on, so that way we can get a little philosophical. One of the questions is, who is Mikey Balzz? Who are you?
Just another dirtbag, dude. Like in all honesty, like I'm just another joker that loves to go fishing and literally will do anything to do so, because it's one of the few times and moments during however many hours there are during the week that like I have a grin on my face. And like it's just, I don't know, like it's kind of what I live for, and I've been fortunate because I've been able to, because like this whole game, whether it's fishing or life or whatever, it's about being a little bit lucky and then doing the work to create a context. If you want to talk about like philosophical thing, like doing the work and creating a situation or a context where that work can drive potential, and then realizing the potential. And like, dude, I'm nobody like on YouTube or on anything, you know what I mean? But like I have been fortunate to like, like I got people that watch the videos, which is crazy because like it's really cool. And dude, to be honest with you, I like making the videos, and I always have. And if no one watched them, I would literally still make the videos, because it is a selfish process, man. Like I like capturing that moment, capturing that atmosphere. And like I said, I was part of that whole transition, like that internet kind of like blow up and bloom that happened in the early 2000s. And like prior to that, like the only way to like keep that memory of a fish was either a picture or a mount, or at that time the replicas were starting to get popular. And I'm like, dude, screw all that, man. Like I can capture not only like the image and like the picture of the fish, dude, I can capture like the very essence of what happened before, during, and after. And I thought that was cooler than any kind of like memory you could have by looking at a replica, by looking at a picture or anything like that. So like that's kind of like that's like my philosophy behind like all the videos and all that. There's a ton of information there. I actually go back and I review and reflect on some of the videos. I have some of the raw footage in that. I have it all archived by like month, by lake, by year. So like I have this real time or this live journal. There's a little internet reference, but like like a live kind of reference to all of these years that I've been doing this and all this time that I've invested that and it I don't know, it's really cool, man. Like it gets me off, dude, and that's why I keep doing it. I think when it doesn't, I'll stop.
Before we continue, Mikey, what's your social media and what's your YouTube channel so people can check you out?
There's the irony, dude. All you gotta do is search Mikey Balzz. Like, dude, drop it in Google. Skip the part about Mikey Balz's real name. But
Marketing
like,
101.
Yeah, just MikeyBalzz, all one word. That's one thing people get confused about is they think it's like Mikey Balzz. No, dude, all one word, Mikey Balzz, and you will find me everywhere. I'm on Instagram.
Mikey Sack. You should change to Mikey Sack, and people are gonna look for you, bro.
Check this out. You want to hear something funny? My girl's like really creative, like with stuff, and she likes being a little bit ironic. She's like an old Reddit child and stuff. So she's like, dude, for April Fools, you should tell everybody you're changing your name to Mikey Butts and create a like MikeyButzz or TTZ, and like, create a bunch of like troll accounts, like on Instagram, on friggin' Reddit, and all that. And I actually
troll your followers.
Yeah, dude. Like, just it's all we're transitioning, guys. Like, let's shift, But but once again, not to confuse. Just search Mikey Balzz on Google, and you'll find me everywhere. There's a website out there. There's Facebook. There's Instagram. There's YouTube. And if you guys like what you see, throw me a follow. Otherwise, just bust my balls. That's fun too. So.
And the merch too. They want to get a hat or a shirt. I'm wearing a Mikey Ballz shirt on my picture with my biggest fish that I've caught to date, which was a 9.8 out on Lake Toho.
I remember that, dude. That was
reposted it.
Pick, dude. I love that. Yeah, I thought that was super cool.
And I caught that on camera too.
I know. Well, and dude, so let's talk about that actually. Like, obviously, I know I had some influence with you doing some videos and stuff like that, but there's more to it than that. Like, what got you into the video stuff?
Well, so it's funny you talk about the reason I wanted to have you on is because everybody has a craft, right? Everybody has an art, and I look up. I'm the type of person. You have a lot of envious people, and I'm sure in the fishing community, a lot of the guys are cool, but then you got a lot of douchebags. And what happens is that's life in itself. And I feel that, and I've said this before, a wolf doesn't concern himself with the opinion of a sheep. So when I find somebody that I only take advice from people who are better off than me, and this is a way of thinking a lot of people don't do that. If you have somebody who's good at their craft, who's good at the art, why don't you learn from them instead of being envious towards them? So, when I talk to somebody who's better off, either business-wise, fishing-wise, whatever, I'm going to dissect the way you think and see if some of you can rub off on me. So, I can strive to be on your level. You know what I mean? And I don't feel that people nowadays do that. And I wanted to start doing the videos because, again, what you just said, to elaborate on what you just said about creating and it being for you, but the ego that we have, we're all, how many views did I get? How many likes am I gonna get? That ego gets in the way, and that's one of the things I'm gonna try and do to not when I launch this, because I'm stockpiling material, because obviously about content creation. I'm gonna talk to you about that later. About making material and obviously posting it out. Sometimes you'll post a video and people are like, hey, Mikey, you're in Florida, and you're like, nah, dude, this was like from 2 months ago, because you have a vault of material to be able to put out and be consistent. So, I'm enjoying the process of making this podcast. My issue with the videos was, man, fishing it has taught me so much, and it's changed my way of thinking, and that's why I love it, because when you're out there, and I know you can relate, it's like you said, you're out there, you got a grin on your face, because it's a sport, and it happens to me over and over again, where you can go from being super high, had an awesome day, to like, man, today I ain't catch shit, and it's like you feel like shit, but you still enjoyed it in a sense, you know what I mean? Like you still went out, you did your thing, and it just so happened to be that day maybe you weren't on them how you were supposed to be, or you weren't throwing the correct thing. And that's another thing that I like about fishing, because if I have something going on in my life, I'll just go out there, and it's like you're just focused on that next bite. And since you're only thinking about that, you forget about everything else. And then obviously when you land that fish, it's like, and especially a big fish, that adrenaline rush that you get, you get hyped up. Yeah, you like that emotion. And I love that. But at the same time, it's like I hate it because it's such high and such low. So what happened with me with the videos was, dude, I'm not consistent enough, man. And especially, it all depends on the body of water that you're on, because again, the fish change, man. These patterns, you know how Florida can be, dude. Everything looks juicy, everything looks good, and when you're in there, it's like either they bite or they don't bite. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
and that's why I made a few, and then like obviously life got in the way. I know you told me you have a full-time job. I have a full-time job. I have a son. I have a household, and sometimes I haven't gone out as much as I should. I have a boat and everything, and I haven't been going out as much as I should because of life, because of things getting in the way. But every time I do go out, I enjoy it. Even if I catch something or I don't, it's like I didn't catch anything today, but I drove fast in the water with the boat. Like
I know exactly what you mean.
There's always something about it,
It being in the mix kind of thing. And dude, you're 100% right. It is. I've always thought like, and I got to be careful how I frame this, because I don't want to insult people who have, what do you call it? Like, it's not behavioral difficulties, but you know what I mean? Like, some people have depression and all that stuff. Like, I mean, however your perception on that stuff, or however you look at that, is how you look at it. But really, the only word that I really think that can describe that fishing process is manic as hell, dude.
Yeah.
It is the most manic sport, dude, that like, it's amazing. You can come home so crabby, but happy you were there. I mean, it's kind of like that lame millennial thing. It's like, yeah, I was really glad to be a part of that. But at the same time, you like hated every freaking hour of it because you didn't achieve, wanted to achieve. Or you can come home, dude, so jacked up, so on fire that all you want to do is like just get back out. And it's almost like this wonderful kind of foreplay, like, dude, I'm gonna get back out there, like this is gonna be so cool. And then at the same time, it can either go really good the next time or just horrible.
Just horrible. So dude, it's happening to me, bro.
But you're right though too, like it's interesting you talk about the simplicity, because they're really there, and maybe it's that manic thing too, because it's such a two-faced activity. Like, it's so simple, like, and I think that's why I like flipping mats so much, because when I do that, I can put my head down, and there's just something to it where I can flip better than, say, 85% of the people that are out there, because I put my head down and do it, and I almost like disconnect, even though I'm connected. But at the same time, there's all these complexities that go into it. So even though we're like simplified, we're tunnel visioning. Like, if you don't get those bites, or if you recognize some maybe weather change, one of the things that always happened to me back in the day is like it would get super duper cold. So we'd be flipping mats and stuff, and like you would change your presentation by one, going to something super small like a BB cricket, or two, like you'd start like suspending the bait under the mats, for instance, or doing like these little tweaks. So you're still doing this singular kind of tunnel vision process, but you're looking at some of the nuances that make that process more viable and make it work better. So it's complex, but it's simple. It's such a mishmash, dude. And you're never totally right, and you're never totally wrong. That's the other thing, dude.
That's the messed up part about it, man. That's the messed up part about it, because and I'm sure you can relate, because I'm pretty sure you get people writing to you constantly, dude, what do I throw? Because I was one of them. Dude, what do I throw? How do I throw it? How long should I go out fishing for? It's like all these questions. Like, man, listen. They say it takes 10,000 hours to master something. You got to go out on the water, bro. You got to be out on that body of water, whatever it may be, and you have to learn it day after day. And you're gonna have days where you don't catch anything, and that's okay. That's part of the grind. And like you said, you get into that. One time I went out to Lake Kissimmee, dude, and man, I think it was summer. I don't remember. I don't know. Man, I must have flipped miles of Kissimmee grass, dude. Miles, just like the trolling motor. And like you said, I was just a robot, just boom, boom. I would switch it out every now and again. I'd slow it down. I'd let it fall to the bottom, twitch it a couple times, dude. And that whole day I didn't catch anything, bro. And it was like,
Wow.
man, it's like, how does Mikey do it? How does this guy just go out there? But that's the thing, we're not seeing the entire process because
No, you're not.
that's the video. So it's
That's-
like you might go out one time and see, and I think you posted videos where you just catch one fish, and it's a nice decent fish, but I'm pretty sure that's the only fish you caught that day.
Yeah.
No,
there's total truth to, and that is what it is, man. I've gotten better at fishing. There's no doubt about it. But like, dude, I'm not like a pro. I'm not somebody like some of these guys, these like magic sticks that go out there and catch them day in and day out. I've always been somebody who's been slower to learn, but once I learn something, I can usually get a little bit better at it than most people because I'm so stubborn. But it always takes me more time. And I'll tell you what, like right now, I work for myself finally, and I've been doing this since about 2013, 2012. And prior to that, dude, like actually, yeah, it was 2013. Prior to that, like I was fishing Saturday and Sunday, dude. Or I actually had another job back in the day. I had to freaking work on Saturday, so I would like Sunday and Monday. Those were my days to fish. Like there was no like, oh, maybe I'll sneak out for 4 hours on a Wednesday if I get all my work done. And dude, like creating enough content to like post, like it was. And I loved every minute of it. Don't get me wrong, but like it always took me longer to get to where I always felt guys were like, oh, they're such gurus, they're going out and like knocking this off, and I'm like struggling, dude, to
nah,
like
dude,
get
yeah,
a video,
it's a process. So
it is the process.
well, I have a bunch of questions I got here. So what got you into fishing? And I know you've been and how'd you get started? Because I know you've been doing this for a while now, especially making videos. What, 6-7 years you've been making video? You've been on YouTube? You're like,
Try again, buddy, dude. This has been since like '09, dude.
damn, my bad.
No, I'm just
You're the
playing with
OG,
you, dude.
bro.
I've been around a while, dude. Let me date myself, dude. This will really show it. I was on Google Videos, which was 08, '09, and that's before Google bought YouTube.
I don't even know what
And
the
when
fuck that is.
yeah, it's because it doesn't exist anymore, homie. It's like an old car, like you don't see it. But it was their video server, and then Google bought YouTube. I think it was I want to say 2010 or '09, and I transferred all my content over there and just started building on it from there. But yeah, it's I've been around for a while doing it. The whole getting into fishing thing, it's sort of a two-dimensional process. So way back in the day, like my old man didn't fish or nothing like that, but I lived in Wisconsin, and it's an outdoor culture up there. Everybody deer hunts, everybody goes fishing. So my best friend fished, and we would go out, and he kind of got me hooked on it. We'd catch some bass in the clear, water up there, and a lot of those residential style lakes. And there was one day when I actually didn't even catch that many of them. And I've told the story a lot. Is we used to get power bait. Like power bait was the deal back then, the old school, just original power bait. And we got some worms. And I went and made these worm harnesses, which is basically like a pre-rigged worm harness. You tie like 12-pound mono or something to like 2 circle hooks, and then you thread it down the worm. And dude, I don't know, it must have been the spot we were on, and the fish just moved up the stage. Dude, my old man and my best friend, we drifted across this thing in an old like 18-foot Sea Ray, dude, like totally not a fishing boat, and we probably caught like 35 fish, which was unbelievable to me. Like we would never catch something that. And dude, I was hooked. But the funny part is that I was the one who was actually bringing these up because with like a pre-rigged worm, especially like a power bait that's super soft, like you catch 1 or 2 fish, that joker tore up. So like they're catching a bunch of fish, I'm throwing them on and then catching 1 to their 3. But it was the coolest experience, and it got me hooked, dude. And I started fishing, and I sucked, dude. I didn't know anything, and that actually was part of the reason that led to the videos too, because this was like the mid to late '90s. And dude, there was no content. Everything you read was traditional, like hard media, paper, print. There were some TV shows available. It was all traditional veins of content and media. Not as we look at it now. And dude, it was all lies. It was all a bunch of crap, dude. Like that, you'd get little, if you watch from a critical or an analytical standpoint, there'd be little glimmers of truth. If you watched like Bassmaster and FLW, if you watched very closely, you'd pick up on little things that weren't really highlighted by the show or like emphasized in that. But a great example is that one Bassmaster Classic that I forget what his name is. He won it on a pointer, on a Lucky Craft pointer, and he's like, "Yeah, man, I was fishing a Strike King jerkbait." It's like, dude, come
Yeah.
on.
They're
You know,
like
and
that though.
they are, dude. They've it's gotten less of that just because of the way things work, but that really jaded me because literally, and I understand that like to learn you need to catch, which then means you're taking fish away from, or you're maybe getting on somebody else's pattern because they've spent the time to figure it out. But really, like back in the day, like my puristic vision was, dude, I want to learn, I want to understand how this works, and from an honest resource standpoint, there was nothing, dude. Like, and nobody would talk to me either because I was some dirty, like, rat long-haired kid who, like, I'd go try to fish a tournament and I'd catch 2 fish. Everybody would have 5 fish and they'd catch big ones and all that. And you try talking to some of these jokers, you know, like these old men, cigarettes dangling out of their mouths, and like, dude, they would just like blow you off. And it's like, and I understand why. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, I'm not trying to like say like that was the wrong behavior because it's.
Hello.
Up, dude.
Yo, Mike.
Yo.
Yeah, you cut out there for a second. You said
Sorry.
the last I heard was it was not saying that it was the wrong behavior, but
Yeah, it wasn't wrong behavior, but like I said, I just wanted to learn, and it was just challenging, dude. And you know, I went out there and tried to pick up as much as I could through those resources, but was very limited, and I was just jaded. And that was like one of the first seeds that was planted when I started making the videos, because I saw really, and this sounds really stupid now because it's really obvious, but back in the initial stages of the internet, like people didn't know what it was or didn't know the potential of it. So it was very dynamic. And now it's all porn, you know, which is cool too. But like,
yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Like we didn't know what we could do. There's this huge open platform of interaction and communication. And all of a sudden, like I can put stuff up and it can have the same value as Kevin Van Dam. I'm not saying my content does, but I'm saying everybody was at equal status back then. You know what I mean? And
yeah,
so, like, I kind of got out of fishing a little bit during college because I liked girls and I liked to party and all that kind of stuff. So I didn't fish for a while, dude. And then I went to University of Florida to get my undergrad, and it turned out that they had a small lake that the University of Florida actually like owned frontage to, and they would rent you a boat, like a John boat if you were a college student. They had kayaks and all this stuff, and I had an old trolling motor, dude. That 12-bolt hand controlled trolling motor. So I had a 49cc scooter, you know, them little crappy like mopeds, dude.
yeah.
And the lake was like freaking 7 miles out of town on a highway. And I would go like out of Gainesville towards Ocala, and friggin' I'd chain a trolling motor to the back of my little scooter, and I'd throw a 12-volt battery at my feet. I blew the scooter up like 6 times, like needless to
Damn.
say, because I overworked the motor, and I used to get pulled over. So I'd have like 6 rides. I'd have all this stuff, dude. And the friggin' state troopers would pull me over because they think I robbed somebody's garage, and I'm like hightailing out. It's like, dude, you know, I can only go 43 miles an hour on this thing, like at full bore, dude. Like I'll never get away. Why are you pulling me over, man? But I had started playing with some of the digital video at that point, and I thought it was so cool that, like, dude, like these guys make these million, $2, $3, $5 million movies, even more than that in Hollywood. But all of a sudden, I can grab a Sony Handycam with a mini DV tape, which is another old school thing you probably don't even know about. But like, I
Nah,
can
dude.
grab and digitally, like, put that on a computer, edit it, and put it on the web. And like, I have content that's like equivalent to like a TV show, like Roland Martin. Like, dude, in like 2008, 2009, Roland's still shooting at like standard def, dude. And I'm like shooting like standard def like videos. Like, it was like the coolest thing, dude. And that lake that I rented the boats on turned out to be what you were talking about. It was a grind, but dude, there were monsters in there.
Mm-hmm.
And there were days I'd go out there and get 1 bite and it'd be a 2-pounder. And there were days I'd go out there and get 3 bites, and one of them would be 8 pounds. And there were days I'd go out there and get 6 bites and catch 30 pounds, but you never knew what you'd get. And there was one day I brought that camera out there, and I put it on a tripod in the back of this John boat, like one of the first rigs I ever made. And I caught a 6.5 pitching maiden cane with just like a little half. And dude, needless to say, like all my equipment, I had no money, dude. This old man gave me a box of baits from a boat that he bought that he'd never used. Like, I'm flipping like his baits because I had no money to go buy bait. It was so ghetto, dude. Like, it was ghetto like times 1,000. But yeah, so I catch this 6.5 pounder and I got the camera running. So on these cameras, you have to go back on the old school ones. It's something called FireWire. It's almost like an old school USB 3.0, but instead of just uploading like a clip like you would off a GoPro or a contemporary digital camera, you actually have to play the camera as it's plugged into the computer and then record it through a capturing software, which a lot of editing software had. But dude, it was the best thing ever because you would have to go through and review your day and cut these clips out and make them into AVIs. So I go home, dude, and I plug this camera in, and I'm going through my clips of the day, and I get to this 6.5, and I'm like, basically, you clip it, so you stop, you start record, you play through the clip, and then you hit stop, and and then it exports an AVI clip. So I watch the clip as it's exporting, and I had thought that I pitched in there and the fish had bit it and I'd hooked it and it was wonderful, yay, and I got all fired up. And dude, it turned out I pitched it into this little corner hole that was actually more matted than, and for all you guys who don't know what main cane is, it's kind of like a vertical emergent vegetation. Like your bait just kind of falls through it very easily usually. Well, I had pitched it to a little mat and pumped it 3 or 4 times, and that fish had eaten it when the bait was at the top of the mat. And my mind was blown, dude. Not because I caught the fish, not because of any of that, but I'm like, dude, I totally like that. They always talk about that witness, like misremembering, when they're identifying like the wrong suspect in a crime. Like I had totally misremembered what had happened right in front of me no more than 4 hours prior. And I'm like, dude, if I misremembered that, how many things have I not picked up on as I'm going through this process? I'm investing all this time. I love doing this. Like, this process is going to help me get better at what I really enjoy doing. And from that point on, dude, it was balls to the walls with video. If I was fishing, I was running a camera. So that's it.
That's awesome. That's awesome though. And I never really looked at it like that because you're essentially you're learning, but not remembering the moment. It's almost like, that rush of adrenaline because dude, you don't know what's going on, especially when you have that a big ass fish on the other end. And I can relate, man, because that day that I caught the 9.8, again, I had talked so much shit about Toho this, Toho that. Toho's a tough lake, but it's made me into such a better fisherman because of those days, the days that I don't catch anything. And that day, dude, my GoPro was overheating. I didn't even know I was recording. And you know how I caught this fish, dude? I was out on, and again, learning all the terminology. This is another thing I learned from you, learning all the terminologies. I've watched your videos over and over again because you have so much content, so many hours. And I've watched some of your videos, dude, 3, 4, 5, 6 times because I'm like learning and, learning the different vegetation, especially being in Florida. What's hydrilla? What's hyacinth? What's Kissimmee grass? What are reeds? What are this? What are that? Because all that comes into play, and that is where the art and the craft comes from. Because you have to learn that's a process, just like anything else. It's a process, but in order to learn that, you have to put your time in. The way I caught this 9.8, dude, it's a spot that I've always been to. Some days, good. 3, 4 pounders, whatever. I know there were some big girls out there because I have a friend of mine who's a charter, and he fishes a lot of shiners. And you know that obviously, with a shiner you're gonna catch a fish, but you see the type of fish that are in the area. So, I'm just going at it, and I was on them that day, dude. I was throwing a mega bass jerk bait, and I was catching them one after another and we had like 6, 7 boats around us. The lake was packed. We had some dude fishing shiners in the middle. He wasn't catching shit, and this guy was just watching me reel them in, dude. And what I was doing was open water, offshore, because that's another thing that I learned about you. That offshore bite. Mm-hmm. I was offshore. It was a hydrilla flat, so it was matted in the center. Submerged. It was about 5 foot, 6 foot, and I was on the outside, dude. And I was working that jerkbait on the outside of it. And dude, I was catching a bunch of small fish, and I'd alternate. I'd throw that. I'd catch I had my boy with me. We'd catch 5, 6 fish. Then I'd throw out a speed worm, dude. A lightly weighted speed worm with a bead on it and a stopper, a quarter ounce. I'd throw it out, and I'd fish it slow. Just picking it up, dropping it, picking it up and dropping. But the crazy part isn't about that, dude. The crazy part is that this whole time, what happened was I get pissed off because the tails on my speed worm kept breaking. right? So they kept snapping off, and I'm like, dude, I was like, whatever, bro. This is a Senko with a little paddle tail. So I throw it out, and in the video, bro, if you watch the video, I look at my worm. I tell my boy, I go, dude, it's time. It's time. He goes, what are you talking about? I go, it's time, bro. I swear to God, this is all on video. I'm not even making this up. It's time. He's like, what are you talking about? I was like, I got the juice. So I cast out, dude. And when I cast out, I'm working it slow. I'm feeling the hydrilla, and I see my line take off. And you know how it is, dude. Sometimes it's a long day. You think you have a bite. You haven't had a bite all day. So you just set the hook just for the hell of it. And that's exactly what I did. I reeled in because I saw my line take off. I was like, nah. So I reel in and I set the hook, bro, just like a power set. And I was like, oh my God. I looked at my friend, and again, there's 6-7 boats around us. There's people watching. There's people looking. You know how it is, dude. People go up on your spot all the time. There's people watching. The fish, dude, it never came up till it was at the boat, and that's how I know I have a big fish, when they don't jump. So I'm fighting this fish, and I'm telling my boy, I'm like, dude, this is a giant. He's like, bro, knock it off, man. I was like, hey, dude, get the net, because this is a big fish. My line, dude, I was using a heavy rod, and I could hear my rod going clink clink, like my rod. I was like, oh shit. So dude, I'm like reeling it in. I'm like fighting this fish, and like I get hyped talking about it, dude, because it was such an awesome experience. And dude, I'm fighting it. I'm like, dude, it's not coming up. This is a giant. And dude, when that fish came up, bro, I lost it, dude. I lost it. I was trying to keep calm, because again, it's like you said, you don't know what you're doing, dude. You're just like, just get it in the boat, because I want that picture. I want that picture with that fish. And it's like, oh, dude. And I wrestled it, and bro, dude, she took me for a run. And I was telling my boy, I was like, come on, man. And you hear me in the video, I'm like, Joe, please. But I'm like almost crying, dude. And when I got it, bro, I was like, oh, like this is what we go out there for. Like this, moments like this. And she weighed 9.8 and some change, 9.81, 9.85. I couldn't get it out, dude. The rest of the day, I didn't fish. I took pictures of it. I got a mount made. Obviously I resisted, but I took a picture of it. I took the measurements, and I sent it in. Some people out of Palm Bay, they made me a mountain. It's literally sitting behind me now on my wall. But
that's awesome.
It was such an experience, because it's like, again, it relates to life. You put in so much work and so many hours for what? And it's discouraging for some people, and this relates to a lot of people. When you start something, when you start a project, or you start a YouTube channel, or you start a podcast, or you start whatever in life, and it doesn't go anywhere, and when you see the fruit of your labors, actually manifesting, and you getting results from it, it's an awesome feeling, dude. And that relates to all aspects of life. When you put in work, you grind it out, you do what you got to do. And when you get that experience, dude, it was like, oh my God, like that was such an awesome, and I have that, I have that on video, and it's like in the video, dude, I'm like, this is what we come out here for. Like, I was like, so hyped, and it's like, I get hyped. I get hyped from my friends catching big fish, dude. I get excited for them, because again, it's like you said, it's so up, down, and I may not catch a fish all day, but if I took a friend to, I take credit for it, because I'm like, dude, this is my spot, bro.
Yep.
You wouldn't have caught this fish if it weren't for my spot, dude. And I get hyped when he catches a fish, because it's like, dude, this is what we come out here for, man, to have a good time. And I love it, dude. I love fishing. And again, I've learned so much from your videos, because you have so many hours of content. And what you were saying about the big leagues, when there's money involved, dude, it all changes. It all changes, and you got to a certain extent, I understand the mindset, because you in a sense, you have to be what I call jealous a little bit with your craft, especially at those levels that those guys are doing that for a living, dude. They gotta place number 1, number 2, number 3, whatever it is, because they got bills to pay.
Yeah, they're competitors, man. That's
so when they take it out and they throw it back in the water, so you don't see the bait. Hey, it's nothing personal, dude. This, it's all business. You know what I mean? But yeah, dude, I love it. So you say you've been fishing for how long, Mikey? How long have you been fishing for?
God, I don't know. I mean, I guess if you add up now and when I was a kid, probably 13 years, maybe 14 years, something like that.
What would you say? So you talked about the process and how sometimes you don't see, the grind that it takes for you to catch big fish. I know you've caught a lot of big fish, more than I have. Uh, how are you so consistent as far as actually locating? Because another thing about fishing is you have to learn, what is it, the topography of the lake, whatever it's called. You have to learn how to
Hmm.
read a graph. You have to learn how to, the water temperature, what the seasonal patterns, the weather, if a cold front's coming through, whatever it is. One of the guys that I always look up to, uh, Garrett McNamara, I think that's his name.
Rockamora, yeah, kid
Rockmore.
catches giants,
That
dude.
guy is a beast, man. I'm like, dude. I wrote to him, I'm like, dude, how do you on Lake Kissimmee? It's like you, I go on that lake. It's not a secret, but again, it's the art. He knows where to look. He knows what to throw. He knows it, and that's why I think he's
Well, he's
pro.
a grinder too, man. Yeah, he fishes the opens. He's a super cool dude too, man.
I've
Super
never
freaking
met him,
cool.
but again, I mean, guys like that, you look up to guys like that. I'm like, dude, this guy's posting big fish every single week, and I gotta. Here I am with my little 4 pounder, long arming it to try and make it look bigger to make me feel about myself. And this guy catch 8, 9, 10 pounders back to back to back. I'm like, what? And they're there because it's a lake you go on, dude.
Yep.
So what advice can you give to somebody who wants to get consistent? Obviously time, but I don't know, dude. Like I know it's hard to explain because I get the question all the time too. But like, what would you say to somebody who wants to, like, they want to go out there and they want to grind? Like, what kind of mindset does it take? Because not everybody's cut out for it, man.
Sometimes it's not always the grind. I mean, it is in a lot of situations, but some of it, like I'm not one who really believes in a lot of luck, but luck is, I define luck as this. Luck is context. So it's a situational kind of like better statistical likelihood. So one thing in Florida, obviously, there's always going to be a 9 or 10 caught in the summer, a few of them or whatever. But like the majority of fish in Florida, that pre-spawn spawning period, which for us is an elongated period. From on Okeechobee, I mean, you'll see spawning fish in September, October, but for a majority of the state, if you're being general, it's like mid to late November through April if it's like a late wave spawn. And that's the first of all, putting yourself in a situation where the potential is higher, and that's when the potential is higher. So that's something like super simple you can do. And like I fish all year round. Like I would die and lose my mind and tear my hair out and just lose it if I didn't fish like at least a day a week. So like I'm gonna go out there in the summer even if I don't think the shot of catching a giant is as good. But if you're picking your days and you have limited opportunity, put yourself out on the water when when statistically it's more likely, and you can even get more granular with that. For instance, we just had a full moon. Now, in my opinion, a majority of the time, a full like fishing on the full moon or like a few days after is absolutely horrible. But during the spawn, the full moon is awesome because it does one of two things. If you have the right weather conditions, so right now in Florida, it's been like awfully warm. You know what I'm saying? Even though the water temps kind of are lower, it's
Yeah.
been like 85 degrees. So you have a full moon, you have warming trend water temperatures, and it's been stable. Like granted, there's a huge front about to go through, but like we've had a week or so after another big front, a week of like 85 degrees. Dude, that's prime time. Like prime time. Those fish, like there's going to be a population, like a chunk of those fish, a wave of those fish that are going to move up to spawn. And that's the easiest time to catch them. And that whether that's on Lake Kissimmee, going, inside the inside outside grass line and buzzing big easies on pads, or casting a stick bait to like isolated pads, or pitching like isolated reeds or something like that, or even, I know there ain't much vegetation out there, but like back in the day it'd be prime, like right after the front they'll move into some of those inside mats, hydrilla floating mats, and they'll use those as staging grounds then to move to spawn. And we've had like 5 days. I actually just caught like like a 7 off a bed sight fishing
Did
canal.
you catch any where'd you go out today? Did you catch any
I
today?
had to friggin' work, dude. I
Oh,
didn't even get
damn,
to go
bro.
out. But I went out yesterday. And here's the grind, man. So I went out Tuesday under this let's use some big words, auspice. So I figured there's going to be some spawning fish. There's not going to be a lot of them, but there's going to be some spawning fish. And I love sight fishing. Sight fishing is like the
Yeah, it's
epitome of like
awesome.
one-on-one, like who
I
is the
love
more
it.
stubborn, like, jerk. And it's going to be me, even though sometimes I don't win. But you know what I mean? It's just fun, dude. Like staring at them and playing with them and trying weird things. And actually, I got another story about that I'll elaborate on. But so Tuesday, I go out. And I had to work in the morning, and I got like 3 or 4. I think I got 4 hours on the water, and I'm like, all right, dude, I'm gonna. And this has to do with catching big fish too. So I'm gonna frame my trip. I have a limited amount of time. I know a canal system on this one lake. It's usually an early spawning area. I might only see 2 fish, but the potential is 1 or 2 of those fish is going to be like 6 pounds and bigger. And that's, to me, I divide Florida fish into like 2 groups. There's 1 to 3, maybe 1 to 4 pounds, depending on how good the fishery is right now. Those are males. The majority of them are males. They're fun to catch. They're a blast, especially that 2 to 4 pound range. Awesome. And then there's, your 5s, and they're kind of like the mid range. Like you catch 5.5, you got 25 pounds. That's awesome. They'll still be kind of grouped up, kind of like the smaller fish. But when you get 6 pounds and up, those are I know a 6-pounder isn't a trophy class fish, but I guess from a behavioral standpoint, I look at those fish behaving like a trophy class fish.
Oh yeah.
If you're
Oh yeah.
catching 6s, you got a shot at catching an 8. If you're catching 6s, there might be a 9 near there. Like that's kind of the way I break things down.
Big fish attract big fish.
Exactly, dude. So I'm like, I might only see 2 fish, but I have this limited amount of time. This canal system isn't super big, but it's not super small. I can cover it, and I'm only gonna stop if I see a fish that's 5 pounds or bigger, maybe even 6 pounds or bigger. So, dude, I go out there, and like literally within like an hour, I see a 6.5 pounder and freaking cannot catch it. And at that point, it's like, you know what? I spent an hour and a half on the fish, could not catch it. And I'm like, you know what? I need to give up and move on because I still have 2 hours left. I can execute on something else. So I go and I find a little 4-pounder on a bed, and I need some confidence. So maybe this plays into it too. I'm like, I'm gonna catch this fish. I spent 30 minutes on it. I catch this fish. Obviously put it back real quick, whatever. But I'm like, cool. I'm back in play. So I'm like, you know what? I have a limited amount of time left. I'm gonna go try to catch this 6.5 that I saw.
Again.
And that's I didn't catch the 6.5. I'm gonna go give it another try and see because here's the thing with spawning fish, sight fishing. You leave them be and they can reset, or if it's later in the day, they might lock on the bed even harder. Where this fish was kind of cruising around a bit, and when they're like that, you have to draw them onto the bed, get them locked down, get them pissed off, and then catch them. So like I'm thinking, hey, maybe she locked down, so one step of that process I don't have to do, and I can actually catch her. So I go back and I sit down on this fish, and I'm already like an hour and a half deep in her, dude. And this old man comes down and starts chatting with me, and he's like, yeah, whatever. He's on his dock because we're in these canals. Well, dude, finally this fish gets aggravated, and I'm a little bit lackadaisical because I've caught 1 fish in the entire time, and of course, she bites, dude. And I made a stupid decision too. There's some pads around, and she's behind some pads, and I'm using 15-pound fluorocarbon.
Oh,
and that's because I believe in fluorocarbon when it comes to bedfish, if you can get away with it. But I wasn't analyzing my surroundings. And needless to say, I lose the fish. I finally get her to bite, dude. And it took forever. And dude, she's on. She freaking straight lines me, wraps me in the pads and off. And I'm like, all right, dude. You know what? Like, that's it. Like, I lost today. And it's one of those things, And going back to it really quick, like I'm not always one to take a lesson from the day, but I've tried to be more proactive about saying what happened today, what can I take away, and not getting hyper granular, hyper insightful about it, but just hey, dude, I had a crap day. What's 2 things I can take away from it? What's 2 changes or 2 perspectives that I can remember? So at this point, I'm like, dude, I got a rod with 30-pound braid and a topwater on. I could have literally put a 1/4 ounce weight and a little Mega Daddy on there and pitched that in there, and I would have landed that fish because the braid would have cut right through there. I don't need 50-pound braid. I don't need 65. I just need braid, so it would have cut through the pads when that fish bolted out. So I'm I made a mistake. It's not going to happen again. Well, dude, I turn around and go to troll out of this canal. there's a freaking 7 to 8 pounder literally nose down on a bed. And I'm like, oh, the gods are good, son. Like, are you kidding? And dude, I snuck up on her. Like, she didn't even. I pitched my bait in there the first time. I missed the bed because it's a weird angle. And I'm like, darn it, that's a splash. Dude, I did it 5 more times and splash. I'm like, Mike, tighten up, bro. Dude, finally I get it in the bed and shake it for a minute and pull it off. This fish chases the bait off the bed. I'm like, dude, we got.
It's gonna happen.
It's gonna happen. Yeah, it was only downhill from there, dude. Like it just literally, like all possibility melted away. I don't know if I needed to give that fish 10 minutes because it hadn't been there when I trolled in. Like it's always a game of inches, dude. Anything. So did she need 10 more minutes to really lock on that bed and then I could harass her? Did I splash too much and just blew it anyway? Like there's all these things. But in any case though, so I come off and it's like I don't got a video, dude. Like that was a crap day. So I go back out there Thursday because I had to go to Fort Lauderdale to work on Wednesday. And I'm like, you know what? All I want to do is I want to find one fish. I want to go through my process. I got a rod with braid rigged up. I got a 20-pound fluorocarbon rod and a 15-pound fluorocarbon rod. I got 3 rods on deck, which is so unlike me. It's unbelievable. I always have 100 rods. Dude, I go through it. I go mark 2 4-pounders. I can't catch them. I go and see if that 6.5 is still there. Not there. I'm like, dude. Like this is going to hell in a handbag really fast,
Another bad day.
Another bad day. So I let the area where I saw the 7 just alone till like 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and then I'm like, I'm gonna sneak in there, see if she moved up because there's definitely the possibility, and like I'm just gonna whatever happens happens. So I roll in there and make a few casts to the bed, and she's not there. So I kind of creep up and look, and like she's not there. Well, dude, I had marked another bed earlier with nothing on it about 15, 20 feet ahead of me. Well, these 2 kids in a Triton, and like, I don't want to hate on anybody too hard, but I'm going to hate a little bit here. Dude, I had passed them in the canal as I was idling back towards this fish and seen them, and they like down a canal like 100 yards, and then I idled another like 200 yards down a main canal, took a right to go down this canal. Well, dude, all of a sudden these kids are like, idling, and it's all slow and awake, idling super fast, like down the canal. I'm down all of a sudden. I'm like, all right, that's cool. Dude, they go past me. I say, what's up? They kill the motor, dude, 15 feet in front of me, drop the trolley, and turn towards the side of the bank that I'm like trolling down.
I hate that,
like,
dude.
Are you kidding? Like, dude. So like I don't start like, dude, if I like go on video like things that I start, I don't like putting that stuff up. Every once in a while I'll put it up, but like I'm like, hey, boys, which way do you want me to go? And they're like, oh, it doesn't matter. I'm like, yeah, you want me to go that way because you want me to blow the fish that's sitting on a bed that I marked freaking 3 hours ago. All right,
Yeah.
boys. So I got a little agitated, a little heated. Probably shouldn't have. So I go around these kids, and of course you're gonna watch. And I turn around and look, and I see, dude, like a 7 sitting on a bed, dude, and like clear as day, yellow bed, 7 sitting there. I'm like, are you kidding me, dude? I'm 20 feet away from the one fish I need for this video. And these kids go to, and this is the biggest key with these sight fishing things. Like, and it's once again like the big fish versus not catching them. Well, these kids they don't have power poles, so that makes it difficult. But because they idled and knew that fish was there and they were trying to cut me off, they ended up screwing themselves, dude. Because what they did is they ended up trolling onto the fish. Their main motor spooked the fish right off the bat. I see him in my corner of my eye as I'm going and looking for more beds, catch the male, but they're literally on top of this fish, no more than 8-10 feet away. And I'm like, dude, they're never going to catch this fish. So I'm like, you know what? I'm going to take a breath. I'm going to go down this canal, see if I can find some other, fish to look at. And when I come back, as long as these kids aren't real jerks and they don't like turn the trolling motor on and blow up the bed, I'm going to have a shot at that fish because I know they're not going to catch them. So I go down. And about 20, 30 minutes later, I'm like, I'll troll out. If they're on it, I'm going to be polite and just move on by. And today is, well, dude, they're gone. And I'm like, really? So I get sneaky. And, dude, if you're ever fishing beds in a pressured canal system on some of these clearer lakes, dude, turn your trolling motor on 20 or less when you're like 30, 40 yards away and inch up there. If you got a push pole, do that. Because I guarantee you are 75% more likely to catch that fish than if you go up there, even on 40 or 50, even on like low. So again, I ease up there and I stay a long cast away and I see that fish on the bed. I'm like, they didn't blow up the bed. I might be able to catch her. make 2 casts, and this fish is getting interested. And I'm like, hold up, Mike, what did we learn the other day? Like, there's some pads around, like there's some cover. I need to get out this rod with braid. Otherwise, when she does bite it, for the one opportunity that I get, I'm gonna blow it again.
You were still throwing fluoro?
I was still throwing fluoro, dude, because I'm a strong believer you can get them to bite here with the fluoro. Well, dude, I spent an hour and 15 minutes on that fish, and she gradually got more angry. Finally, she like picked up the bait and ran, and I didn't know she was on there because she wasn't. You know how sometimes when you start fishing, you'll feel them tap it. This one wasn't tapping it at all. She would just pick up the bait and move it, dude. And I knew they had already caught the male, so I knew it wasn't the male doing it, which is also kind of interesting. That's always the game. Well, dude, hour and 15 in, finally I see that bait ease off under a dock, and I leaned back, dude, and she was there. So
damn,
she got
7-pounder?
7-pounder. She got wrapped in the pads. I used the braid, towed her right out, got off the dip net, and freaking scooped her. And I'm like, you know what? This is not only going to be a cool ass video, but like I know the story behind this and the emotional roller coaster I've been through for the past 2 days. And not only that, just these kids pulling this, and in the end, like karma coming like back on them and it backfiring on them. So it was just I trolled away with some grins. I'm like, dude, no matter what else happens today, like that was a win. I made good decisions, and it felt really good, dude. But it's stuff like that, you know, like you go from a day where you had a shot and you just kind of clear the cache, and you take another shot at it. That's what it's about with big fish, dude. Like you can't. Yeah, I'm not a positive person, dude, but I'm also not negative. Like you always got to have a little bit of hope and a little bit of.
To elaborate on that, Mikey. I'm a firm believer in the law of attraction, and our minds have more power than we know, and I believe mindset, especially when it comes to fishing, plays a big role, because there's been days where I'm like, man, Lake Toho again. I don't want to drive down to Lake Kissimmee. Today's gonna be a shitty day.
Yep.
And it is a shitty day. And then you have those days where that day that I went out and I caught that 9.8, I was all but positive that day. From the day before, when I was texting my friend that we were gonna go, I'm like, yeah, dude, tomorrow's the day, bro. And I can show you the text. Tomorrow is the day. Tomorrow we're gonna catch a biggins, dude. Mikey Ballz status. I put my Mikey Balzz shirt on. I said, bro, today I'm catching a biggin. And throughout, I kept that positive outlook throughout the whole day. And when we got on the water and I was catching fish, I was looking at my friend. I was like, dude, this is the most fish we've caught out on Toho in one sitting. Because it was. And it's like I've gone onto the lake, dude. I've gone onto the lake I put out so many hours on that lake, and people always ask me, oh, what's the good spots? I don't like to be a douche, but I don't like to give out my spots. You know why? Because I don't get, I just tell people, look for hydrilla. Oh, okay, thanks, dude. But I know these prime spots because why? Because I grinded out, dude. I was out there. Were you out there with me? No, you weren't, dude. And you want me to come and just tell you like what? Nah, dude. You go around, you experiment. I've driven up and down that lake. So if you look at my graph, it's like, damn, what the hell? Up and down that lake so many times, looking at different things, different brush piles, this, that, a hole here, a hole there, and it's like I've tried it all. And and there's a factor of luck. I believe in that. And yeah, because like you said, you're at the right time, right place, but it's all about the execution. You might have switched up your presentation just a little bit to catch that fish that wasn't biting. And when you switched it up because of that experience, because of the mastering that craft, you knew what to do. You were able to land that fish because of these subtle changes that you were able to make to the bait, whatever it is. You hooked it on fluoro, it came off. So next time, it's like things like that you learn it, and it's a puzzle. But mindset plays a big role when it comes to things like this, and it's easy to get discouraged, just like anything else in life. But man,
I think that relates to kind of like I was talking about potential, and like that mindset, like it's nurturing potential. Like that's all a part of like the execution and the baits and stuff. But like, dude, like your head puts you in that situation, and nurturing the potential and the possibility, and also putting yourself in that context. You knew where to go. You knew where to look. Maybe not all 5 spots were good, but one or two of them might be. And you nurture that potential throughout all those 5 spots with the belief and with the execution and the activity level that every single one of those spots could have held that 9-8.
Yeah.
And I think that's so important because we do get, I mean, anybody, dude, gets lackadaisical. They get complacent. Complacency is a big problem when you're fishing, dude. Big problem, like it's 1 o'clock in the afternoon. You only got 3 bites, dude. And it's, I got my 6 rods rigged up. I don't want to tie another knot,
Dude, I'm like that, bro.
So am I, dude. And we're not
I'm like that.
nurturing the potential, we're not, because then we go into the ramp and somebody says, dude, I waxed them on a chatterbait, waxed them. And then you look back at your rod, your rod's on your deck, and it's like, not only don't I even have a chatterbait tied on, but I don't like have a swim jig or maybe even a spinnerbait. Like I wasn't even freaking warm, dude. I was.
You weren't diversifying. You weren't throwing.
Exactly.
You have to find them that day. Not every day is the same. And dude, I do that all the time too, bro. And it's like, man, I don't want to take that rod out of my rod locker because I don't want to take the sock off, and I don't want to.
Nobody got time for that, dude. It's like, dude, fishing's one big meme, dude. One big meme, man.
The funny part about that 9-8 was, dude, that spot, it hadn't been producing, dude. It hadn't been producing for me for months, dude. And I told my friend, I was like, let's just go out here, man. Let's just go out here and whatever. We'll move if it's not, but I want to hit that spot, before we go. And that day, bro, it was just one after another and it was small guys, little bowls, just like small, like one. And then, dude, that 9-8, bro. But it's that speed work
on the mega bass, dude. Like that. I love those mega bass to death, dude. But when you get a fish like over 5 pounds on those hooks, it's a scary ordeal.
I've switched out my hooks. I've switched the finesse hooks that come on it. No, forget about it. You're bending them out instantly, even on a 2-pounder, dude. Oh my goodness. I love bed fishing for peacock.
That's a blast, dude.
The peacock bass are awesome, and it's like you said. I've lost so many P's because I was using that light gauge wire hooks that come on the mega bass. And dude, my friend, it's funny because I'll go out with my friend or whatever, and he'll be throwing the KVD. He's like, nah, dude, KVD's where it's. I was like, nah, bro, I'm on that high class shit. I'm on the mega bass, bro. He's lost, and they're like $25 a piece, bro. He's lost like 5 of them to pickerel. He's like, nah, bro, I'm not buying those anymore because I always lose in the pickerel. I was like, bro, hey, it's part of the process, bro. Like, but it sucks, man.
The face, dude.
It sucks, bro. Or like when you're flipping mats and a pickerel just, there goes that 1.5 ounce. Later, it's like, damn, dude. But I know you've put out a lot of hours out on the water. This is just something I wanted to ask you. What's the weirdest thing you've seen, dude? Like out on the water? Because I know we've got, especially in Florida, you go out, you're alone. You're looking over your shoulder. Sometimes you hear something in the woods. Like what? And you seen anything weird out while you've been out alone?
Trying to think. I mean, I've always had weird stuff happen to me. Like I fell in the water that one time. Like,
dude, I was actually watching that before we got on the call, dude. When you went viral.
Well, no, I didn't go viral. Everybody else went viral because they all took the video and posted it. I'm like, dude, where's my half pennies at, man? Like, come on, bro, brother. I mean, I've seen some funky stuff. I had a gator stalk me once on the bottom, which was creepy, man. I was back in the day when the lake was good. There were a lot of fish in. Do you know Okeechobee at all, or you're mainly a Kissimmee chain guy, right?
I've been out to Okeechobee one time, and there's some big ass gators out there.
So there's these little pockets that are off the rim ditch. They're not on the main lake, but they used to be kind of like enclosed. Now with the hurricanes and the mismanagement of the water levels, now it's all the grass lines are broke down. But I was in flipping mats in one of those little pockets, and the water used to be super clear, like that tannic good gold clear. And dude, I'm in like 2 foot of water, flipping mats, and I'm down a line, and they're all like rats, but like I call it like a 2.5, 2.5, catch a 3-pounder, 2.5. And it's like a stretch of about like 100 yards or something, all pennywort mats that stick out. And dude, so I'm on one, and it's a pumping bite. So like you pitch it in, and you pump it or you suspend the bait. So I'm not moving it very much. And this is back when I had my little tractor. And dude, so I saw this dark shadow on the bottom, and I'm like, oh, because I mean, even on Kissimmee, it's the same. There's like little muck spots and like little like washed off spots and all that. Well, dude, there's a freaking like a 6.5 foot gator, which it didn't compute until the very end. There's a 6.5 foot gator laying on the bottom. This was a little closer to summer, so it was pretty warm. So those jokers will just literally lay on the bottom. But it was moving. You know how you have that sensation when something's moving, but like it's not moving, so you're like you get really disoriented. Well, I didn't think it was moving, but it was freaking moving, dude. So this gator had been trolling along with me with the boat, and I was catching the 2 pounders, and then I boat flip them. So you're like 10 foot off the mat edge. You hook the fish, it dives down. You're like, and then you boat flip them. Dude, this joker was like literally stalking me, and the gators leave you alone for the most part, except for the little ones, And like, dude, like I didn't figure it out, and then finally I'm like, whoa! When I had a fish on, and the joker popped up, and his head hit the bottom, like underside of my boat. And it goes boom, and I go,
damn.
Yeah, dude. I put that trolling motor on 10 and did a 180 out as fast as I was spooked, dude. Because especially when they get semi-aggressive or interested, they're more dangerous than anything.
Yeah,
that or when they're nesting, dude. Like so, that was a weird deal. The other weird one too, and it's kind of like the ironic failure of my entire life, but like my PB is 12.7, and I caught it off a brush pile. And I snagged the joker in the back. But a caveat to that is that, like, I saw the fish on the graph. Literally, dude, like, so we were fishing this brush pile, throwing, like, worms and jigs inside the brush pile. And we idled over it. And, dude, on my structure scan, like, on my down scan, I'm like, dude, there's, like, 5 giants. Like, the brush pile's in, like, 25 feet of water. They're up about 8 foot. So they're, like, 2 foot, 3 foot over the top of the brush pile. Like, those are giants. So I get a hollow body with 3/4 ounce head, and I'm like, I'm gonna roll that joker right over the top of it, and I'm gonna do one of two things. I'm gonna catch a giant, or I'm gonna hang it on the freaking brush pile. So I'm like rolling it. I tink the top of the brush pile, and I lift, and I feel something like grab it, dude. And it wasn't that I grabbed it. It might have turned on it, but yeah, dude, I hook a 12.7 in the back.
Wow.
And that's my PB. But like, talk about a crappy story, like. Some guy like your PB, it's like awesome, like I was catching them on a jerk bait. I like mixed it up and called my shot. My PB is that I snagged a 12.7.
Fake news. Fake news. Yeah.
Like, dude, it's the lamest friggin' story ever. But just stuff like that, little nuance stuff. I was in a tornado once on Okeechobee, and I had to power pole down in a reed head, and my boat got freaking lifted. Yeah, dude, it was the best fishing ever. I got out to Okeechobee way back when. And freaking they like the weather, the front was going through. It was gonna go from like 85 degrees to like 55 in a matter of 4 hours. Well, dude, the fish knew freaking what the dilly was, and
they know.
I caught like a 9, a 7, a couple 6s, all out of one head that was about like 40 feet wide, like a circle reed head. And I'm like, this is awesome. And then the wind freaking just went AWOL, dude. And I'm like, this is dangerous. And I'm in my little tin boat, like freaking like 10 miles from Clewiston, and like my top speed is like 38 miles an hour, So I'm like, yeah, I should probably get down. So like I literally, dude, like put my boat on pad and drove into the middle of the reed head, dropped the power pole, and just like laid down in my boat.
That's a dangerous lake, dude. People have died on that lake.
It's freaking nuts. And especially summer fishing, like you're either 10 minutes like early or you're 10 minutes late. I've been like 8-9 miles off the shore, and you see a storm coming. You know how they are. They're real segmented. Mm-hmm. And you're like, oh, I'm catching fish. I got another minute. And then all of a sudden, dude, it kicks up and
it creeps up on you real quick. It's happening.
You can't see anything. Like, much less the freaking 8 miles to shore. Like, there's all kinds of weird stuff. But then you gain experiences and you learn, and it's, I don't know. One of the funny things that actually just happened is we've caught some big fish since I've been in Florida, and we kind of like figured out, hey, they're eating brim. There's a lot of shad in some of these deeper water lakes that I fish, and sometimes they'll be on shad, sometimes they'll be on brim. Well, we're like, yeah, they're on brim. Like, we kind of figured it out, and lo and behold, dude, we're fishing a shell bar, dude, and there's something flops like about 30, 40 yards away. I'm like, dude, that's a bass choking on a brim. So we go over, and it's a 3.5 pounder that ate a brim, probably like a size and a half of my hand, like an 8-inch brim, and it's stuck like crossways in its mouth.
So was this a video you posted one time?
Well, that it did happen one time there too, but this is a video
Yeah.
that I haven't posted yet. I just shot it, and so we kind of like saved the fish and let them go. But just weird stuff like that happens, man. Caught a few gators on accident that I thought were giants on floating frog down in the glades. Stupid shit, dude. Like
Yeah.
put yourself out there enough, like shit happens, dude.
So no Bigfoot, dude. No Bigfoot.
No Bigfoot. I've heard stories about the pythons, but I never seen them out there. Just weird. Like I don't know. I'm sure I'm forgetting something, but there's just been. I've hooked myself in the butt with a rattle trap. That was a trip on your lake, actually, on Lake Tahoe.
Have you seen that video of the two kids fishing? I think it was a tournament, and the dude just smacks him twice, and the second time he hooks him with the jig. Have you seen that video?
No, that's terrible.
Dude, I gotta send it to you, bro. It's like this kid is just like fishing. He smacks him the first time. He's like, "Oh, dude, watch out, man!" And then the second time he hooks, bro.
You know what? Don't send it. I don't want to see that. Oh, okay.
But,
it's back. Did you see the video when I freaking broke my graph?
No,
Dude,
I didn't see that video.
So I was on Smith Lake, and so I got like that
With a jig.
Dude, with a half-ounce freaking finesse jig. I put it right through the front of the touchscreen. The graph still works, but the touchscreen is shot. Like literally, dude. Like I've never thrown away $3,000 in a fast like moment. It was like, punk! And I'm like, no, that didn't happen. No. And I go back there, dude. This looks like a bullet hole in the screen. I'm like, are you kidding me, man? Like,
so my first time doing a tournament, and my first and last time.
This doesn't sound good already.
I came in 14th out of 115 people, something like that. I was co-angler, right?
Okay.
Had this guy, and I hope he listens to this. He's a douchebag. Had this guy. He had an old I forgot what it was. It was like this older boat. It was pretty nice. But this is why I tell you, when there's money involved, things change real quick. So I knew it was gonna be a bad time. As soon as we did the launch, this man was balls to the wall, dude. I was holding on for dear life. This man was doing like 70 something on Lake Tahoe, bro, just trying to get. I was like, oh shit. I was like, I'm gonna die. I was like, this is the last time I do this. So we're grinding it out all day, bro. All day. This guy catches. We were very shallow on Lake Tahoe. I forgot what time of year this was. I don't even care. We were really shallow. He was using a prop bait. He caught like a little 2.5 pounder, 3 pounder. And we moved around. I'm telling him, I'm like, hey, dude, he was from Gainesville. And I was like, hey, dude, this is my home lake, bro. Like, I might know a thing or two. I'm not saying that I'm the best, but he's like, nah, dude, we're going to go here. He wasn't listening to me. I was like, all right, whatever, dude. So it's 12 o'clock. We go back to the first spot that we did in the morning, and we're flipping. I like to resort when it's a tough bite. I like to resort to the lightly weighted Senko, and fishing is slow. So we go back to the first spots that we're fishing, and there's a perfect circle, and it was like some hyacinth and some mats, and he flips it, right? He throws it in there. And it was like he did like an X kind of thing. He did the front, the side, and then the center, right? I'm watching him do it, but this man, what he's doing, and he like, if he would see me, he would position the boat to where he could get to the spot, and then if I would try and flip into it, he'd be like, hey, dude, if you catch a fish from the center line of the boat, it's a disqualification. I was like, yeah, and who's gonna fucking tell him that it's a disqualification? You know what I mean? Like, come on, dude. So anyways, he trolls past it after he had nosed it in. I was like, you know what, dude? I hadn't caught anything, by the way. This is my first time. Right. I was like, I was to the point, dude, I was so fed up that day that I was just like, whatever. So I pitch in there. But before he had pitched in there, he had like missed the fish. He's like, oh, dude, something hit it. And I was like, okay. He's like, there's just something in there, dude. He kept like trying to find it. I was like, whatever. I flip into the center, dude, the hole. A lightly weighted gambler, speedworm, down the center. I see my line jump, dude. My line goes. I was like, nah, bro. I set the hook, a 5.5 pounder. I pull it out, dude. This man was furious.
Shut up.
How is it that the co-angler catches more fish than this guy was mad,
Are you
bro?
kidding me, dude? And you're stuck in his boat? Did you bring a gun, dude?
No, I didn't bring a gun. I was stuck in his boat. That's the thing. That's why I didn't say anything. So from that point that I caught that fish, this guy was nasty, bro. What he would do is I have the Shimano, the one that does the sound. The
Yeah,
so
yeah.
he would wait for me to cast. So like we kept fishing in the same area. I'd cast, he'd hear it, and he'd stomp on his trolling motor all the way on 10, like to speed through. So dude, he sabotaged because I had caught a 5.5 and like a 1.5 pounder, like a 2-pounder, and it was really tight for the first place. I could have got first place, I could have still could have checked, but I could have got numero uno, you know what I mean? But this guy sabotaged me, dude, because I missed. I was flipping, dude. And I missed a bunch of fish, but I had missed it because he was taking all the fun out of it, man. I was like, man, I'm just out here to have a good time. It's my first tournament. You're making it shitty, dude. You know what I mean? Like, so like I was just flipping and whatever. I'd feel a bite and I lost some nice fish. That I know if I would have caught them would have put me up there. And I had a 3-fish limit, so I knew that the fish that I missed, I ended up with 2 fish. The fish that I missed would have put me up there. And I was like, yeah, dude, these fish are in these piles, we're flipping. He's like, you know what, dude, next time just pay a 50 extra bucks and just bring your own boat out here, dude, since you know what you're doing. I'm like,
are you kidding
bro? I
me?
swear, dude. And then I had my buddy who was also fishing it. He was a co-angler, and the guy that he had was helping him out. But my guy, when I was like, dude, let's see if we can, he's like, dude, this isn't a team effort. And I'm like, I have my other friend who the guy that he has, he's helping him out. They're going on a brush pile. They're both catching their limit. They're helping each other out. And this guy, bro, sore loser. So like ever since that, bro, people ask me like, oh, dude, you gonna fish this tournament? I'm like, nah, dude, I'm gonna stay away from tournaments because when there's money involved, people get nasty, dude. People get nasty, and I just don't want to be in a situation. What if I would have like said something to the guy? Like, dude, you know what? Like, let's fight.
This is, bro.
Let's fight. He'll throw my ass in the water and peace out. You know what I mean? Like, I'm on his boat.
Would have been a viral YouTube video though, dude.
Yeah, but ever since that, dude, forget tournaments. I don't mess with them. But yeah, that's my tournament. That's my first tournament and last tournament experience. And there's just some sore losers out there. And it was funny because the next day when he saw the list and when he saw that I cashed a check, he called me, dude. He called me, and
Are you kidding me?
I denied the call, bro. I didn't even pick it up. I deleted his number and everything.
Dude, that's like creepy. Like that's like beyond like, hey, he was angry. Maybe giving him the benefit of the doubt. Maybe he just got angry and flustered. That's creepy. Dude.
At the end of the day, he was also like, oh yeah, dude, and by the way, you got to give me money for gas, oil consumption. Dude, I gave this guy $50, bro. One of my friends who had fished tournaments, he's like, dude, you don't have to give him that much. Give him $10, $15, $20 max. And I'm like, dude, I looked at him because he saw me as soon as I was getting off the boat. He saw my face like, yo, what's up? And I was like, dude, let me just go weigh this in, turn these, release these fish back into the lake, whatever, put them in that boat. And I just want to get out of here. He's like, oh, yo, what's up? I was like, yeah, I'll tell you in a bit. And then I told him the whole story. He's like, yeah, bro, that's what happens when the brown guy starts catching bigger fish. Then you know what I mean? Like, it's like
that's what it was.
I don't know, dude. Maybe. I mean, I talk to Mark Daniels every now and again.
Right.
And I had told him that story, and he's like, dude, it'd be like that sometimes, but you just gotta. Yeah, I mean, dude, there's so many bad things in this world. Like, racism is still alive, bro.
Yeah, and I get, and the thing is too with fishing, you do get a lot of like old school guys and stuff like that. Like this
guy was from somewhere in the middle of nowhere, up towards Gainesville. I don't know what the name of the place. He was a firefighter, and it was an old Ranger. It was a nice Ranger. I think it was a 21. And I was like, you know what, dude, never again. And dude hit me up the next day, and I was like, man,
that's just creepy.
I just denied the call, but yeah, dude, it's crazy, man. And fishing is another thing. People who don't have the passion for it, they're not gonna really understand. It's like one of those things that you can't really describe.
Oh yeah, because it's like an emotional like there's so much invested into it. But if you're not in the mix, you don't get it. I mean, there's no doubt. That's kind of why I stopped too, man. Like I'll fish a derby here and there, but it's kind of like it's twofold. One, I'm not a big fan of the derby stuff, but like it's fun to do it every once in a while, like
Yeah.
whatever, go have some fun. But then it's also kind of cool video content because every once in a while it's nice to kind of mix up the content, and all of a sudden like the pressure is on, catch five, big as you can. But like I used to fish the BFLs, man, in my tin boat, and then I would borrow boats every once in a while just so I could be more competitive. And I can't tell you how many times in the tin boat, like I would get scoffed at. I mean, I had no freaking dignity anyways, because dude, when I used to bring cameras to like Okeechobee in like 2010, 2011, people would just laugh at me, dude. And it seems so stupid now. They're like, because now you look back and you're like, why would they laugh? Like it's
Yeah.
everybody. But like back then, dude, it's like it was like this flag of weirdness or whatever. And dude, they would laugh at me and point at me and stuff. And I'm, in this crappy tracker. And then before that, I had a little Tiller 35 horse. But like, dude, I would fish derbies, and like I can't tell you how many times like guys would cut me off in a BFL because I was in like a tin boat, or I'm some like little like hood kid like with long hair or whatever. I mean,
You
it
had
was
that
enough.
mullet, bro. You had that mullet.
Yeah, dude, like it's but you know what? And here's what happened though, and this is kind of I think what really like nothing's puristic. Don't get me wrong, dude. Nobody's perfect. Nobody's pure. Like, and if they tell
Mm-hmm.
you that, run
I
the
agree.
other way as fast as you freaking can, dude. Fast. So like, I figured out that like, to win, especially the BFL stuff, because it's really a dog versus dog thing. Like to win that stuff, you gotta like you. I don't know if it's you got to play to win. It's not that you play dirty, but like you got to be the guy cutting off the other guy. Like
You
you put
gotta
too
play dirty,
much.
bro. You
Yeah,
have to. When there's
but
money
it's not
involved, dude, you have
dirty
to.
because you're not breaking the rules. But you got to play to win. And playing to win means not being ethical is not the right word, but you can't play nice, dude.
You
Because
gotta
not,
be
what?
raw.
Like, yeah, not everybody's gonna play nice. And the irony is, dude, one of my best finishes where I had a shot at winning one of those BFLs, I played to win, and I cut into people, like I cut in on a mat line because I thought it was mat line, and I knew this other guy was going to cut me off, and I ended up getting second and freaking caught like a solid bag and had a shot at winning, had the fish on the win, and like dude, like you're talking about, I boxed out my co-angler. I was fishing isolated mats, and I set the boat up where no, dude, I did, and I felt really good about like placing and doing all that, but at the same time, I'm like, wow, dude, like
You're a scumbag, dude.
yeah, dude, like this process, like what did I get out of this process? I just made 3 grand and like got second place, which I was fired up about. Don't get me wrong. But like then you like step back and you look at the process and it's like, what did it take to get here? And like, do I want to do that all the time? It was like,
Yeah.
no, like it's
You can't, dude. It'll suck the energy right out of you.
oh
It's
yeah,
like, but again, Jeff Bezos and Elon Musk probably didn't get to where they are because they played nice. I'm pretty sure they screwed some people over, but hey, it's I don't like that. I don't like that. I think you should keep all doors open. And again, uh, karma. Whatever you do is always gonna come back. I'm a firm believer in that. If you put out good energy, you're gonna get good energy back. But as soon as you start getting nasty, things can turn real quick.
great, dude. And
To
it'll eat you alive, like you said, too.
Yeah, no, it will. To sum things up and to close out, we've been going for an hour and 20 minutes, dude.
Nice. You got content now, dude. Right?
Yeah. Do you have anything? What's next, Mikey? Like, do you have anything in the works? Anything exciting going on? Obviously, you're fishing, you're working. Anything crazy going on that you want to talk about that you have coming up? I don't know. Anything interesting?
I mean, this is what kind of where I actually look to like the viewers and the people who actually like watch my videos and stuff. Like, I'm always open to suggestion. Like I'm not big into the challenge videos and
Move
stuff
back
like
to
that.
Florida. How about that?
No, dude, I'll be honest with you. I will end up back in Florida at some point, but that comes back to the whole. Remember we were talking about like starting like afresh, like I don't know anything. Like that's where I'm at in Alabama. Like I know a few things, dude, but I've struggled, and then I'll catch them 1 or 2 days, and then I'll struggle for a month, and I hate it, but I love it, dude. Like it's such a fresh look, and I'm not gonna do too much hating on Florida fisheries, but like what's happened to some of the Florida fisheries, I'm glad I'm not here right now because they're not in a good place, dude. I'm hoping 2 or 3 years down the road, like we have this conversation and it's like, wow, dude, Florida is firing off. It's awesome. But I don't know if you looked at some of the weights from like the Bass Open and that on the Kissimmee chain. Like
Yeah.
that's not the way those lakes should fish.
Yeah, those
So
guys were
definitely,
those guys were grinding it out, dude, and you got
yeah,
some good
dude.
sticks out there. And
Yeah,
yeah, I looked into it and I was like,
that's disappointing, and that's a reflection of. And Okeechobee's the same, dude. And I'm hoping they'll come back. But in any case, though, I mean, if you guys like the process, and I don't always catch fish, but I like to learn. I'm trying to do it on Gunnersville. I am going to try to travel some more, do some destination fishing, and just make videos, man. Because in the end, the videos, I'll be the first to admit, I do make some ad revenues off of them, and it definitely opens some doors networking that. So, I can say it's like a puristic kind of thing, but I do, in the end, at brass tacks, I make the videos because I love making the videos. And if you guys like that kind of content, come check it out, throw some suggestions my way, and that's about it, dude.
the first mistake you can make is looking at it like a business. As long as you have fun with it and you truly enjoy it, dude, the rest will come. Everything will fall in line. Hey, who doesn't like making money doing something that they love? And if you're making money doing it, bro, and you found your niche and you're putting out good content, you deserve it. You know what I mean? Because you're dedicating, again, you're still dedicating time. You still have to edit the videos. You still have to put content together. So it's not, easy. And not just any regular person is just going to go out there and record and make videos just because of it. It is a job, and it's hard, especially like me with, coming up with content, finding people to talk to. Some people say no, whatever it is. And if you're getting kickback from that, dude, more power to you, man. And like, I wish you the best. And I was kind of bummed when you moved to Alabama because the thing about Florida is like the fishing is only here like that. You know what I mean? Like everywhere else,
True.
like what I say is like you can use all the cool baits up in the those northern
That's
lakes.
true. That's why I moved
Florida,
too, dude.
worms and that's it. So I'm like, damn, Mikey left, bro. Now his videos are gonna be like fucking whatever, But dude, I've always watched your stuff, and we go back and forth. Sometimes we talk every now and again. I love, dude. I had so much fun today because I got to talk to somebody who I've like looked up to, and like you're such a cool guy, and
You're
I like
being way too
conversations like this
nice.
because
You're making me uncomfortable.
because I like conversations like it because they flow. You know what I mean? Like we went back and forth, and it's so it's organic as possible, and it's like you talk to some people where. It's kind of like, you know what I mean? It's like, and when you meet somebody who you can click with, it's nice.
Yeah,
So
it's a dialogue, and you grow, man. Like there's no doubt about it.
yeah, definitely. I mean, hey, we gotta go out fishing, dude. You don't
I'm
gotta
down.
record it, but
I gotta record it, dude. There ain't no
you
reason to
gotta
go fishing
bro.
otherwise.
You gotta put me on to some big fish, dude. Let me know when I'll go wherever you're at. Not Alabama, but I'll go wherever you're at, dude. And I'll meet up with you, and I think that would be sick as hell.
No, that
So
sounds like a plan, dude. That'd be fun to shoot a little video and kind of continue the conversation. I'd be down for that, dude.
yeah,
And
definitely.
actually, and don't like you're kind of depressing me, dude. It's like it's not like I'm gone from Florida. You can never take Florida out. Like I'm down here like a month at least in January, and then I come down there in the summer for a month. So I'll always be back and forth down here, dude. Friggin', my heart is always here to an extent. So you'll always see content from Florida. It's too fun. It's too unique, like you said, and it's too much of a part of me just to let go like that. So
Yeah, we'll work something out, dude. We'll be in touch. I got your number, so but yeah, we'll go ahead and end it on that note. And again, Mikey, thank you so much for taking the time, and I had a lot of fun today, man.
dude, me too. Thanks for having me on, and I wish you luck with the podcast, dude. Like your positivity and your drive to kind of understand and grow things, dude. You're gonna be successful with it, man. That's what it takes. So good luck with it. All right.
Thank you, Mikey. Have a good night, man.
You too, dude.
Later, bro.
Well, there you have it, people. I hope you enjoyed this episode because I know I did. And I think everybody should go out and fish at least once. It's a thing, again, can put you up, can put you down. But even when I don't catch fish out after a long day, it's like, what did you get out of today? You had a good time, you disconnected. I got to drive the boat fast on the lake. Things like that. Just it relates to life. What can you get out of everything, even if it's the most simplest thing, the smallest thing. But hope you enjoyed it. Follow us on social media at the Juan Podcast. Shoot me an email if you want to be on, if you have anything interesting to talk about or that you want me to cover or find somebody to talk about. Through email, the Juan Podcast at gmail.com. Check out Mikey's work on his YouTube channel and his social media. I think you can pick up a lot of good techniques if you're into fishing from his stuff. And again, until next time, guys, thank you.